was someone who was watching this, and you live in the city or you live in the suburbs of around a big city, and you find yourself, you've got a heart, you care, you love your family, you love nature, you love people, you want to see this world really thriving, you want to see people happy and fulfilled and living meaningful lives, and you want that for yourself as well. And at the same time, you drive your car that in the peak hour traffic every day that's burning fossil fuels, and you're shopping in supermarkets, and it's monoculture, and that's that whole thing, and the plastic wrapping of everything, and supply chain logistics and all that nightmare of thing. And you've got this job that you need to go to pay the mortgage and do all the things, to buy the stuff, to impress the people, and that whole game, right? And of course, short of coming out to the village and experiencing village life and being part of that, which would be amazing. And of course, these villages are happening not just here in Bali, but in every city in the world. There's permaculture gardens.
Yes.
And there's intentional communities, and there's eco villages, and there's eco developments, and there's green technology, and it's everywhere, right? So for someone who's going, what's the practical next steps that I can take? I mean, we've really covered. The first thing is this: who I'm being, how I'm showing up in the world. Am I engaging consistently and regularly in those emotions? Am I looking for things that are going to help me to feel angry and pissed off and frustrated or powerless or guilty or all that kind of stuff? Or am I bringing my awareness to that and going, that lives in me, and not judging it or hating it, but going, there it is.
Yes.
And what could I choose instead?
Yes.
And making the choice to go, what have I got to be excited about? What have I got to be grateful for? What have I got that I could really appreciate in this moment? So that's the first thing, and we've covered that one, which is beautiful. And on a real practical level, because I kind of look at, there's been a big trend in Australia over the last, you want to go back 20 years, and there was the Clean Up Australia, remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
And they were picking up all the plastic, and there was recycling bins. That was awesome, and a lot of people really got involved in that. And now, if you see someone dropping litter on the footpath, it's like, what? Hey, you can't do that, yes. Right? Put it in the bin. And that's been a cultural change that's happened. It's beautiful. And here in Bali, if you go into Denpasar or to in Jakarta, and someone's dropping stuff on no one notices, no one cares. It's totally, it's not in their level of consciousness. So we've got that, and then we did so there was this big thing that happened then, which was renewable energy, and the government were doing rebates for solar panels and solar water heating, and reduce your electricity bill, and that's really cool, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of got a feeling though that energy efficient light bulbs and solar panels in a home and a way of living that's fundamentally not sustainable, shall we say. I mean, it's not the way we're doing society. Even if everyone had a solar panel, it's not going to last 100 years, let alone another 1,000 years, right? Let alone 10,000 years, which the way that we look at permaculture and a lot of these village concepts have been working for many thousands of years. And now we can, like you said, it's not to go back to the Stone Age and renounce our technology, but to integrate that in healthy ways to serve all life on Earth.
Yes.
And I kind of look at, energy efficient light bulbs and all this kind of stuff. It's like someone who's grossly overweight going, well, I'll just have a Diet Coke and a Junior Burger instead of, It's like, it's a step in the right direction, but it's probably not going to get you all the way, right?
It's not.
So what's some steps that someone can take that's actually going to, get us there, if you know what I mean?
The answer is to make a fundamental shift in our consciousness.
Huh.
Come back again.
So you're back to that consciousness stuff again.
The only thing that's going to happen. And as a result of that shift in our consciousness, we will change our behaviors towards ourselves and other people and the environment, the immediate environment in which we live, the planet as a whole and future generations.
Wow.
That's all it's going to take. And we are...
You're such a hippie.
I know. Yeah. I believe we're at a critical point. Right. I honestly believe that we're close to the event horizon.
Wow.
The critical chipping point. There's another word for it, I can't think of it right now, but where you don't need to transform 7 billion people. You need to have a nucleus that will have an impact, dropping the pebble in the pond, that will have the ripple effects that will go through that. Wow. And we're getting to that stage. Look at the amount of human protest that's going on around the world, where
Sure.
people are actually getting off their behinds and saying enough.
Yep.
Right? People migrating away from these systems that don't work,
Wow.
right? And going off the grid and eating healthily and things like that. It's been estimated that there are 2 million registered groups on this planet doing goodwill work.
Wow.
Right? Registered groups. Now
Yeah.
it doesn't count what I'm doing here. It doesn't count what the yoga barn's doing in Ubud.
Sure.
It doesn't count what a restaurant that's gone vegan. Right? These are registered groups. Now I belong to a few of those, but one of them has now 43 million members,
Wow.
and that's Avaz, A-V-A-A-Z. And
AVAAZ.
AAZ. They're the biggest social reform movement on the planet. I've met the guys. They were down here in Ubud.
Really?
26, 27-year-old indigo guys and girls.
Wow.
And they've built this movement that it's through petitions, but they can change and influence political decisions around the world.
Wow.
Right? That's just one of the 2 million groups, and it's got 43 million members. We are not even aware of how much activity, goodwill activity is going around, because the
Media doesn't
the
count
media
that.
doesn't count that. It's not even exposed.
Yep.
But what's happening now is we are now synergizing these efforts.
Yep.
We're coming together to
Wow.
operate as a body of concerned, caring, compassionate human beings.
Wow.
Instead of being fragmented, this group over here doing their little bit, and Greenpeace over here, and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
we're
sure.
now starting to work in cooperation
Wow.
as a concerted effort. And that has a huge impact on this tipping point, on this ripple effect. And it's reversing the pyramidal way of government, of businesses, is being reversed and empowering the people. Right? John Lennon sang about it, power to the people. This is the answer, and people can become empowered when they step into their own personal power, the power of the heart, the power of the sovereignty that they have, and remove themselves from the matrix of control, the holographic deception, remove themselves from that and say, I am and we are, right? And there's extraordinary power in that, extraordinary power. And when there's no external force that can do this. We can't wait for the Messiah to arrive or the sudden arrival of a new technology. It's up to us to transform it. We've created this. Who's the best person to uncreate it and create something different, something better? So it comes back to the individual again. A fundamental shift in our consciousness, right? And a fundamental shift then of our behaviors, which will naturally follow.
Yeah.
Naturally follow.
Sure. Wow. Thank you
Come
so
a full
much.
circle.